Once again, here we are, the Jaybird Challenge number 26 tonight, and Megan couldn't think up anything good to talk about, so she handed the ball off to me tonight, and I'm going to run with it. I'm going to talk about road trips, and what kind of triggered this thought was I was at work today, and I was working with an old friend of mine. His name's Mark, and he is actually my oldest friend that I still have. I've known him for like over 30 years now. We were like teenagers when we first met. I think I was 16 and he was 15, and we went to high school and stuff together. And Mark is probably the luckiest motherfucker I know. I mean, really. This guy, he will fall bass backwards into money. And me, I'll fall into a barrel of tits and, come out sucking my thumb. I mean, we're just opposites. And he's very gregarious and loud, and I'm quiet and shy. So we kind of, got that yin-yang thing going between the two of us. So we hit it off, and we've been good friends for a long time. And we were actually best friends at one point. Now we're just old friends. But in our youth, we were best friends, and we could always ask favors of each other. And this guy, like I said, he's incredibly lucky. He joined the military, got sent to Oklahoma for basic training. Who cares? Or basic training camps, crappy. But his first post, they sent him to Denver, Colorado. It's like, whoa, sweet post there, man. And then he was like there for a year, and then they sent his ass out to Hickam Field in Hawaii. I was like, oh my God, how bad can you luck out into the best fucking places to serve? And knowing Mark, he ended up screwing it up, out surfing too much and smoking Hawaiian shit, which he shouldn't have been because he was in the military. And they ended up piss testing his ass and kicking him out, basically. They gave him a general discharge and shipped his ass out. But when he came back, he got shipped to Central Florida. But the Army pretty much screwed him by sending all his stuff to Charleston, South Carolina, and said, yeah, you can pick up your stuff there. It's like, you fuckers, thanks a lot. So he comes to me, and he's like, dude, all my motorcycle and all my shit is up in South Carolina. Can you give me a ride up there? Let's take a road trip up there. I'm like, oh, God. That's a long ways. And it is. It's like almost 1,000 miles. I know it was a good 10-hour drive. But I'm like, all right, I'll take your ass up there. So, not thinking, we leave in the middle of the afternoon. And by the time we get up there, it's all dark. And we're having trouble finding the place, so we just crap out in the car for a few hours until dawn. And then we ended up finding the base and loading up his motorcycle and stuff. And I really don't remember lots about the road trip, but I do remember stopping that morning before we headed back at like an IHOP. And I was so tired, I was like, I'm going to fall asleep in my pancakes. So when we leave, Mark's like, I'll drive. I'm like, great. We'll put on some Pink Floyd on the radio, and I'll go to sleep. He's like, what, are you out of your mind? I've had 2 hours sleep last night. We're putting on Ted Nugent or something loud, So I remember riding back, trying to sleep with a blaring stereo in the car. But we made it back in one piece. And Mark was like, don't worry, I'll never ask you anything like that again. Like, okay. What happens 2 months later? He's like, dude, I need you to go on another road trip with me. I was like, oh, God. You're not taking my car this time, because we took my truck at the first road trip. And he's like, no, I'll take my mom's car and we'll drive down. We were going down to Boynton Beach, Florida, where one of his friends had some stuff of his that he wanted to go get. So I'm like, all right, we'll go. So I didn't want to leave the guy stranded to drive a long way by himself. So we're about ready to leave, and all of a sudden, this guy down the street that we knew, his name was Papo, that Spanish guy, he's like, where are you going? We're going, oh, down to Boynton Beach, road trip. He's like, oh, I'm coming. He had a big jar of moonshine, and we're like, okay, you can come along. So we proceeded to get drunk as hell and drive all the way down there. And I know it's a bad story. I'm not encouraging anybody to drink and drive long distances, but back in the day, drinking and driving was like no big deal. So we proceeded to get drunk as hell and drive all the way down there. And again, we left in the afternoon and get there in the middle of the night looking for this place. And this was, you know, long before there was cell phones and GPS and shit like that. All Mark had was an address. So we get lost trying to find this place. And we're in the middle of nowhere. And there's like a four-way stop with a red light. And I'm like, dude, it's red light, stop. He's like, no, fuck that. There's nobody around. So he blows through the red light. And lo and behold, of course, down the road there was a cop hiding in the shadows who immediately, you know, chased our ass down and pulled us over. And it's funny, the cop ended up searching the car, but he didn't find the moonshine. I don't know how that happened. And he didn't give a, you know, a roadside test to any of us, though. I was pretty drunk myself. So he ended up getting away with a ticket. And we were sweating bullets, but we got out of that. Then like an hour later, we find this empty 7-Eleven closed, and there's a payphone there. So Mark gets on the payphone, and he's trying to call his friend, and he's going round and round with the operator, and the damn machine kept taking his quarters, and he got all pissed off, and he grabbed that telephone and by the cable and just ripped it right out of the phone, and then proceeded to bash on the phone with the with the telephone until it broke. And I'm like, dude, get back in the car. You're gonna get us fucking arrested twice in the same night dealing with the cops. I didn't want that. So we hauled ass out of there and ended up finding his friend's house and got his stuff, and then we crashed for a while. And then on the way back, we only had like enough money that we scrounged up for like 3/4 of a tank of gas. And it was a long ride. And we got all the way back to his house with the gas gauge below E and just barely got to his house. And I ended up driving home after that. And he called me the next day. He was like, dude, I went to take the car up to the 7-Eleven to get gas, and it died. And he's only like a half a block from the 7-Eleven near his house. So we really pushed the envelope that night and lucked out twice. You know, once with the cops and then not having to deal with the cops later. So, yep. Oh, I'm over 7 minutes here. But there you go. There's a couple of road trip stories for you. So if anybody's had a cool road trip, this would be a time to make a video response. Eh? That's always fun to talk about. But at least give us a thumbs up or thumbs down and leave a comment of some kind. Thanks for watching, y'all.